Hey artists, today we're going to make these beautiful Peter Max inspired landscapes. Follow along with me and I'll show you all the steps to create your own.
All right, to get this started, one thing I'm going to mention is we are not going to be dipping our paintbrush in very deep. We're going to barely be touching just the end in, and that's going to help us to be able to see our brush strokes more, because it'll just barely put that paint on and you can see where the brush marks are, which is inspired by the artist Peter Max. So we're creating a nice big round circle to be our sun. And as I get that yellow on my paper, I'm going to say, because we are using so little paint on our brush, I can just tap on my messy mat, and without even washing my brush, I can do a quick little small dip into the orange, and I can add some dimension to this circle by blending this orange in. And again, I put so little paint on my brush that my brush isn't very dirty, so I can just kind of blend that together, making that really amazing sun. And I can just go and dip a little drop of red and just add a little red to finish that off. Something else I would like to do is add a little reflection down here, because we're going to have our little river. And so I'm going to put that reddish, a little bit of orange, and some yellow down here as well, just to kind of show where down here in our little water is a reflection of our sun. Now I want to wash my brush nice and clean, and because it's tempera paint, I don't want it to get really wet, so I have a little sponge and I just do a tap to get off the excess water. The next thing that I'm going to do is dip into some of my light green and make some hills. And it's just like a curved line. So just kind of making a little curved line of hills on this side of my paper and also over here. Just little curves with your brush. And we like the way these brush strokes look, so it's okay to have a lot of expression here. I'm also going to dip into my darker green and add some darker curves and splotches over here as well. Just some little dark curves just to add a little dimension there. Perfect. We're going to wash that brush clean once again and tap off the excess water. And now we're going to start working with some blue. I'm going to go for a lighter blue, and I'm just going to start kind of going around on my sky and adding in this lighter blue around my sky. I'm going to go all the way and touch down here. So we're getting the blue up in our sky, and we also want our blue to kind of trickle down into our river down here where our reflection is. And where our land meets the water. Now to get that lighter blue that we see, I'm also going to just dip into some white and I'm going to blend that white around with that blue, and it's going to give just kind of a lighter shade. Kind of around here. And then coming down into my waters here. I could add a little white down here. That's looking really nice. We're also going to add some darker blue. So again, I'm kind of making sure that my brush is mostly wiped off the color. I could do a couple sweeps across my messy mat, and then I'm just going to dip straight into that darker blue. And we're going to have that darker blue coming from the edge and just blending in with our lighter blue. Perfect, that looks really pretty. I'll kind of try to blend this around too, so it doesn't leave like a harsh line. I want it to blend. So I'm kind of squishing my brush around. Beautiful. Let's do that to this side also. Adding that dark blue, and this is why we're happy to have a messy mat, so we can go right off the page. Looking good. And then just go back and give it a little blending. You might have to use a finger to hold your paper from moving. Mine's all over the place. You can always dip back into some light blue again to help blend it. That's looking better. Just blending those colors together. Beautiful. Wow, our picture's really coming along. So we've got this amazing sunset, this big blue sky, and then our river coming down with our land on the edges. Let's wash that brush clean and tap off the extra. Our next move is to dip into the white and add some clouds. And we're just gonna do like some kind of half circle moves here to give us that cloud shape. And they can go right in front of your sun. Beautiful. Let's wash that brush clean. You can see that some of my white blended with the colors that were still wet on my sun, but that looks great. It's still great. Now I'm going to be dipping into that dark green, and I'm going to hold my brush at the side angle. So instead of getting this wide, it's going to be just kind of an up and down, like a little line. And with that, we can add tree trunks. Those are looking great. Okay, now I've got those tree trunks kind of lining the edge. I can go ahead and get some lighter green, and just really any of the greens you like. And we can start adding the tops of our trees. And we're just kind of adding just a little blob of different kinds of green. So we've got a couple different greens in our palette. And you might go back and add a little light to highlight them. You could even add a drop of yellow. Those are looking amazing. Our picture's really coming about. I'm gonna wash that brush nice and clean. So now we've got trees lining the banks of the river. We've got a river down here. If you want to take some dark blue and just add a little land kind of coming out over here in the background, you can. I'm gonna wash that brush clean. And I'm going to grab a tiny little brush and get a teensy drop of black. And we can add a few little birds kind of gliding over our picture. We don't want them to be really big because they're so far away. They're just kind of in the distance, and we don't want a ton of them. And we have created an amazing, bright colored Peter Max inspired landscape. I can't wait to see the one that you create.